Well, hello, friends. Glad you could join us. Welcome to another edition of the MWeS F1 League. Tonight, we are in Spielberg, Austria, at the Red Bull Ring here for what should be a very fine Grand Prix. We've got a lot of cars ready to go. This is a track I actually commentated a race on last night, so back-to-back days of Austria, and I'm loving this. I genuinely do enjoy this circuit. We'll get you through the starting grid here in a minute. Some familiar faces, as usual. Towards the top, it will be that of race day 2016 on pole by 0.2 of a second over Cali Robb. About only 8/1000th behind Cali Robb is Scornsey in third. Race Chase fourth, 5/1000 behind him is Lancey fifth. Shariah sixth, only about 3/100th behind. Fireflow seventh, eighth is Gunner, ninth is Houdini, 10th Edwin, 11th Swede, 12th and 13th the pair of the Haas's of A-Dub and Element. 14th for Nicky, 15th Valentine, and 16th for King Pro Player. And that'll be your starting grid for this evening's action. We'll take you through your drivers and constructor standings. So, coming into tonight's race, Race Day does lead the table by 110 points over Race Chase in second, Cali Robb in third, Nicky fourth, Weeb fifth, Shariah sixth, Lancey seventh, eighth is Swede, ninth is Reimer. And rounding out the top 10 is that of Gunner, as far as the constructors are concerned. The Saubers only lead it by 11 points over the Ferraris, as I'm getting a ping from Valentine right now. Forecast says rain right at the very end, but not within the scheduled rain time, so hopefully, potentially, if safety cars come out, we can get ourselves some rain towards the back end of the Grand Prix. As far as the constructors were concerned, as I was saying, Williams in third, Aston's fourth, the Red Bull's fifth, the Mercedes in sixth, McLaren's takes seventh, the V-Carb's eighth, the Alpine's ninth, and the Haas's in 10th. So, once again, we're getting into the business end of the season as if we weren't already. This round and then 3 more after. And of course, as we were talking about before with the point structure, first place is 60 points. Race Day nearly has a 2-race lead on his immediate competitors. That being of Race Chase and Cali Robb. So he's got 2 full races ahead of Cali Robb in third. Of Race Chase, it's about a race and 50 points for the time being. So I think by the time we do get to Qatar, we could be looking at crowning a champion here. If Race Day has a good one today, it's absolutely true. It's been a fantastic season, this Race Day. Looking for his 7th win of the season today. As we are getting onto our formation lap now, let's have a look and see what tires everybody has chosen. So everybody minus that of Race Day and Valentine have gone to the mediums. The pair of the Mercedes are both hard for this one. That's a bit of an interesting choice. I remember having the cast last night in CCRL, in which Scornsey took part in. The hard tires were not immediately the best. It did take them a good 7-8 laps for them to be the best tire to be on, genuinely, in this race. I'm not sure I like that choice by Race Day to be on the hards here. I'm not really sure that I do. But on the formation lap now, I think the question has got to be, does Scornsey decide to be a little bit gutsy? Does Cali Robb choose the same? Race Chase starting fourth. There's your pit window, 16 to 25 for medium to hard. It's one of those situations now you got to wonder, what are 3 cars? Because again, I don't think they're going to have a go into that first corner, the Niki Lauda corner, atop the hill to the right. I think it's just too much of a bottleneck here on the opening lap to really have something happen. Your best bet is going up the hill into turn 3 with DRS. That is absolutely going to be the best opportunity for overtaking in this race. You may see some down the hill into 4 as Cali Robb decides that he's not waiting for Race Day. Oh, Race Day nearly spins it there on the formation lap, getting back on the throttle. Yeah, if anything, it's going to happen into turn 3, maybe turn 4 if you're lucky. What I will say is that if it does happen out of turn 4, you'll get them side by side through 5 and 6. They'll probably have themselves sorted out by 7, 8 at the latest. But yeah, into that first quarter, you're just not going to see too much. It's too tight. There's a lot of runoff, but not track limits out there. It is just more of a risk than anything else. And of course, we're not going to have one good camera angle for the start. So we've got lights turning on. You can't see them, but I kind of almost really can't either. We've got lights on, I think. And they are off here at the Red Bull Ring. I think Race Day's gotten a pretty good start. But oh, look at this! Kelly Robb is immediately taking him up the inside and Scornsy around the outside. It's immediately happened there. Now, we figured that the Hards were not going to be good off the start, and they weren't, as Lancey's going to get around Race Chase. And as they exit the first corner and up the hill towards turn 3, Race Day has already lost 2 position. But will he be able to send it to the inside of the McLaren? It's not going to happen as they look a little bit further back. We have the Aston of Edwin trying something there on Shariah. It's not going to happen. We get the Haas of A-Dub making the spot around Gunner. Oh, as we look here, Race Day has made the move around Scornsy, at least for the time being. He tried it to the inside. Scornsy's going to file back in line, in behind the Ferrari, wheel to wheel now, exiting 4. And there you go. Race Day actually had a bit of an error there, getting back on throttle. That car jolted to the right side of the circuit, but he seems to have recovered it. As we do have it now, look at this, Shariah and Fire Up Flow side by side, as well as Houdini and Edwin side by side through 6 and 7. As they exit turn 8, are they going to get this one settled? Yes, but Houdini's going to get into the side of A-Dub really quick there. That was almost dangerous. Into the Jock and Rinth corner, as it looks as if Edwin will be ahead of that battle, at least for the time being. After the first lap of the Grand Prix, Race Day loses the top spot there, drops down to 3rd. Kelly Robb up to 1st, Scornsy up to 2nd, Lancey up to 4th. Edwin and A-Dub both up 2 spots respectively. They are the biggest movers on track, but again, it's going to happen now. Scornsy up the inside, and will he be able to make this happen and clear the Ferrari of Kelly Robb? No, Kelly Robb's going to try to outbrake him. Oh, but he's gone into the runoff. Oh, and that is such an error there for Kelly Robb. He's going to drop back down to 3rd, may even lose the spot to Lancey if he's not careful. Back on acceleration, down the hill into turn 4. Kelly Robb is not going to be close enough to try anything into this 4th corner, and neither will Race Day on Scornsy for that matter. But still, big error there for Kelly Robb. Loses the lead almost as soon as he gets it. I thought he was within good enough range there to be able to keep it. I think, was he just too late on the brakes for his own good? Kind of seemed like it. So heading in towards turns 9 and 10, Scornsy has a 0.5 of a second advantage over Race Day. Kelly Robb 3rd, who I believe has just picked up a track limits warning there not too long ago, exiting turn 9. Shariah will have the fastest lap as they go up the hill into turn 1 again. Not really going to see any moves be made through here. It is just too narrow. But on acceleration up the hill through turn 2, technically it's a turn, and then up in towards turn 3. This is where it gets gutsy here. Race Day has a... Oh, and I tell you what happened there. Oh, and more contact. Okay, let's digest that one, as Lancey's going to get to the 3rd spot. So, Race Day was on the inside of the circuit. Kelly Robb wanted to pull alongside. Race Day then chose to defend the outside line. Kelly Robb had to take evasive action there, get off the racing circuit, locks up on the brakes, takes the braking marker board with him, and then into the side of Race Day, and then Lancey is able to capitalize with DRS, and Kelly Robb's going to fall down to 4th, as we did have a yellow flag. Edwin appears to have gone round exiting turn 4. So nearly a massive, massive moment there, and I do believe Kelly Robb is missing some front wing. Yes, it certainly appears that he is, and that's not good, albeit this isn't the most difficult track to survive with a lime green front wing like that, so maybe it's possible. Race Day having a small peek to the inside of Scornsy. Yeah, I thought he was going to stick with it there. He chose not to. He'll absolutely have him here, but Lancey in position soon. I think if anything, we might be seeing Race Chase get into this battle as well. Race Day up the inside. Scornsy chooses the outside, of course, with no DRS. Race Day, Scornsy's going to have to try to hope to put the switch back on him, and he won't. Of course, I think, yeah, Scornsy's going to be behind him at that point to get DRS down, heading towards turn 4. Scornsy's got a good run going down the hill. He'll park it in behind the Mercedes and not die for it this time. Exiting turn 4, I tell you what, the top 6 cars have really formulated a league of their own for the time being. They've got a 2.5 seconds back to Shariah, and this is very dangerous for Shariah. He's going to be losing these spots left, right, and center if he cannot once again get DRS to Fire Up Flow in P6, because he is now the sitting duck of the grid. And on a track that is so DRS heavy as this one, that is not where you want to be whatsoever. Through the Jock and Rinth corner, turn 9, heading down the hill in towards the the right-hander, turn 10. Obviously, in real life, that corner now has a bit of gravel stripping on the outside to be able to, better enforce track limits instead of just the painted runoff. So I'm hoping that in the next game we get that. That might be quite interesting, actually. Back on acceleration, Cali Robb is going to try to have it down the inside of Lancey, going up the hill through 2 and in towards 3, and it certainly appears he's going to get it. We have a yellow flag exiting the first corner. Edwin has picked up 3 seconds. I believe that was the Haas of Element who's gone sideways there. Sui, unfortunately, appears to be dealing with connectivity issues as he's left the session. Down the hill into 4. Nobody's going to be trying anything here. A-Dub had a small peek at Shariah. Not quite enough to consider the overtake, but bit of a look there, at least keeping him on his toes. That's a very important thing as a driver. I'm just looking, did we see that Aston of Nicky have wing damage? I think I did. Yep, it is the end plate on the left side that is missing. I'm not going to say this grid has calmed down, but we've got 30 laps to go here, and I think they kind of realize that this is... It's not even necessarily that long of a race, but with how many laps that we do have on schedule, and, you know, as well, how focused you need to be to keep it within track limits, and you know, as well to make the overtakes, it does start to feel not even a procession, but we get to that point where if you pay attention to the lap counter, it goes by at a snail's pace. If you don't, time flies when you're having fun. That's the old expression. As A-Dub's going to get around Shariah there up the hill even before into the braking zone. Houdini's going to have a try into the bottom of turn 3. Does he have it? Not quite. It looks as if that Aston has gone round again. That's Edwin there at the back. I'm afraid something is not quite right with him at the moment. We have 2 cars with time penalty. Shariah and Edwin himself both have 3 seconds accumulated for what I'm assuming is going to be chalked up to the multiple warnings. A-Dub is up 5 positions, up to P7. King Pro up 6. From the back of the grid now to 10th. As into the jock and rinse corner. Oh, Scornsy got right up along the back end of race day there. Nearly had a bit of a look through that corner. Exiting turn 10. I think race day's gotten a better go of it, actually. Scornsy was not able to latch on to the back end as well. As Houdini's going to enter the pit lane here. This is an interesting choice. Is he missing front wing? What's the call here for Houdini? I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it's unprepared. I'm assuming front wing change. That's exactly what it is. Up the hill in towards turn 3. No moves will be made within the top 6 this time. A-Dub behind him, 3 seconds, and a second behind him is Shariah. So the Haas was able to get around the Sauber and make and continue to put time back. Nicky will go up the inside of Gunner in through 3, and he'll take the 10th spot. As now Edwin, unfortunately, his day is come to a rest here, as he will retire in the pit lane. If I'm to be corrected, this is also a Division 1 Grand Prix with no racing line as well. So we could see some thrills and a couple of spills tonight as well. And yes, that's absolutely true. No racing line being used for this one, which by this point, I think a lot of these guys are comfortable with. This is a track here, and for the most part, the schedule that we have chosen is King Pro is going to pick up a 3-second penalty. The circuits we have chosen for this schedule here, everybody has raced in several racing games before, except for maybe Singapore, I'd say, and maybe Zandvoort as well. But Silverstone, which was our first one, and Shariah's got 3 seconds here. That'll put him up to 6. Silverstone, everybody's raced that at some point. They would probably know. At least, if anything, the biggest thing with the racing line is the braking zones. Everybody knows their way around these circuits. It is the braking zones that I think is genuinely the most helpful with those racing line aids on. Barcelona in round 4, everybody's done that one. Everybody knows that track. Singapore, I think everybody knows that track to the point where they can get by with it. I think even our first no-line race here in Division 1 was at Singapore, so they've got history with that already. Zandvoort, I thought was actually quite tricky to have that on. I thought that was probably the most bold of the circuits to not have racing line on, but hey, you know, it went, I think, pretty okay. Austria here tonight, and then the next one is the penultimate round at Spa, which, again, I'm sure everybody on this grid has driven around at least once in their life, probably. I would guess so. So, you know, I think it's one of those things. The racing line is not a necessity, I think, to these Division 1 guys. It is just purely quality of life. Race day goes a bit wide at the turn 10 there. Scornsy, I thought, was going to have a slight look up through turn 1. He chose not to. But I tell you what, he's going to have an opportunity here, it seems, as up the hill, heading towards turns 2 and 3. Scornsy right up along the back end of race day. Here he goes. Is he going to send it under braking? Yes. Is he going to keep it? Oh, contact with the Mercedes there. Wheel to wheel they go. Lancey behind, I thought, was going to have a move on Cali Robb. He didn't. Wheel to wheel now as they make their way down the hill into turn 4. Scornsy will pull ahead, albeit only just. Race day, I thought, almost wanted to switch him to the inside. Didn't quite have the facility to do that one. Does get a bit of a wiggle getting on throttle there, however, exiting turn 4. So that will promote Scornsy to the lead of this Grand Prix. Race Day, albeit is battling quite well, he's gone back up to second after the tribulations he's had in the beginning. Cali Robb, which I'm only just noticing now, is missing some front wing on that Ferrari, that left side. Oh, look at this! I'm sorry, I hate to cut away. Scornsy back to the inside of Race Day there, back to the lead for the McLaren. No, I apologize, I must have missed that. Race Day to the inside, and now Race Day is going to get Scornsy coming out of turn 10. And up the hill into turn 1, Race Day will have it. Back on accelerators. Oh, that's a big slide there for Race Day. Back on the throttle. No DRS for the Mercedes. Scornsy's going to have it, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to take on Scornsy at this point. Cali Robb chooses the inside in order to box Lancey on the outside in behind the McLaren, so that was good defensive work from Cali Robb. Race Chase is in this battle, albeit slightly on the outside looking in. And to this point, as Sui has had a terrible go through that corner, I'm afraid, has had a lock up and then went quite slow as well. Nicky's going to have a look to the inside here, and he's going to make it happen. Race Chase, unfortunately, to put it how it is, has not really played a factor in this quite yet. Although what I will say, he is knocking on the door at the moment. Could he potentially play a factor here in the coming moments? That would kind of be my guess, is that he's going to have that ability and not too far away. So down the pit straight, up the hill. Heading in towards turn 1, Race Day still leads, albeit, again, only by about half a second. As it appears, Sui will get a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings there. Down the hill, heading towards turn 4. So we have a yellow flag. It appears the Haas of Element has had a spin. Coming out of that first corner, that car is back up and going. So we're getting closer to the halfway point, or at least the 1/3 mark, which is happening at the line this time. For the time being, it's not necessarily been calm, but we're not seeing a lot of the dives here. These guys are being very patient with each other. You know, I think having the no line on as well is kind of that sort of thing where these guys are going to be slightly hesitant because, again, they're not going to have absolute certainty on where the braking zone is. So I think that's kind of what we're looking at here, is that these guys are just going to play it slightly more chill, as A-Dub's going to try it around the outside of Shirai. It feels like he's already made this move at least once before in this race. Anyway, up to 7th for A-Dub, unless he's not able to hold on. No, it appears that he will. Battle for the top 2, starting to separate from the rest of the top 6 cars, as Scornsy and Race Day have about a second back to Cali Robb for the time being. Down the hill through turn 10. And back up the hill towards the Niki Lauda corner. Lancey had gone quite wide there exiting. That's surely going to be a track limits warning for him. But I will say, is this Scornsy already? Maybe starting to fall behind Race Day here. I'm not sure Scornsy will have DRS here. No, it does not appear Scornsy's going to have DRS. In fairness, neither will Cali Robb. So Lancey's going to take Cali Robb up the inside there and will move up to the 3rd spot. But I have a feeling here Race Day is once again in a position. Those hards, as I said, it would probably come around this point of the race where those hards were going to work themselves into the best tire to be on. And I think we're at that point now because he is starting to put time behind to Scornsy. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see a little bit of the overcut or undercut in play from some of these guys. Of course, Race Day, when he comes out of the pit lane, is going to be on the medium tire, so he's going to be at an advantage despite the track position he will lose with the lengthened pit window. Up the hill once again through turn 1. This time Race Day's got a 2.5-second advantage over Scornsy. Scornsy's going to have to defend a lot from Race Day here. His fire-up flow is going to pick up a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Scornsy chooses the outside. Lancey had a bit of a peek, won't go for it. Cali Robb will. Cali Robb watched Lancey hesitate on the move on Scornsy and is now taking that third spot as Race Chase is going to want to have it as well, but I'm not sure he's going to get the acceleration. And unfortunately, Race Chase won't be able to play a factor this time. Oh, look at this. There might be 3 abreast into the corner. Well, Cali Robb wanted the inside of Scornsy. Lancey wanted the inside of Cali Robb. That was nearly all kicking off there, as we do have a yellow flag. Element's gone round, I'm afraid. Meanwhile, Race Day, again, 2.5 seconds up the road, as Cali Robb trying it around the outside of 6 and 7 and into 8 on Scornsy. He's not going to have it. To the inside, not quite, and I think Cali Robb is going to be our first taker of the pit lane today. Yes, he will. Lancey will not follow behind. Cali Robb pits, is the only one out of this leading pack here to actually do so. As now Scornsy's going to be dropping spots to both Lancey and Race Chase here. As Scornsy's got a 3-second penalty of his own as well. Yes, he does. Scornsy's going to try it back to the inside of Lancey. He's going to get there. So Scornsy will take that position back, at least for the time being. Just waiting to see when our remainder of our leaders decide to pit here. I'm assuming it's going to be this lap or next. Scornsy has stayed out. Lancey has stayed out. Race Chase has stayed out. Fire Up Flow will make the trek into the pit lane, assuming to those hard tires. At the line this time, which we've already crossed, it is 20 laps to go in this Austrian Grand Prix. So up the hill, heading in towards turn 2 and 3. Scornsy once again chooses the outside. Lancey will have to be later on the brakes. And he does. Always going to push Scornsy wide. And I think maybe now could that allow Race Chase underneath? Not quite. I think that was Lancey just a little bit too late on the brakes there. His Element's got a 10er for exceeding track limits. 10 seconds for that is a slight odd. I'm not entirely sure how he's picked that one up, but he has. Race Day now has a 5.5-second advantage over the rest of the top 4. As Lancey leads, he's gotten a little bit wide there at a 6. Through 7 he goes, and in through 8 after that, still in the lead. Nicky's going to get around Gunner, that being for the 5th spot. These couple of cars battling here currently 15.5, 16 seconds behind the rest of the podium battlers, as now we do have Lancey into the pit lane, Scornsy and Race Chase staying out, but Lancey's come in. That's the crucial part there. And again, I'm just wondering how this is going to look when we do get to that crunch time and towards the back end of the race here. Of course, the hard's going on for Lancey as expected. As, oh, look at this. Scornsy and Race Chase having a good battle coming up the hill into 3. Race Chase has gotten himself ahead of the McLaren. Only just, and only for the time being. Oh, and I think Race Chase may have had a bit of a slide coming off the corner there. Yes, he has. As he will fall back down to 3rd. I'm not entirely sure what's happened. Did he potentially have contact from behind from Scornsy? I don't think that was the case. That was a very odd, slightly incident there from Race Chase. Suddenly, that car went clean to the side, and now finds himself back in 3rd. Shirai going to have a look at Houdini down to the inside of 4, not quite. As now Scornsy and Race Chase will pit here, finally. I feel like that... Was it a couple laps late, really? I'm not sure if they've gained anything by staying out as long. I would have pit at the same time as maybe Lancey or Cali Robb. Hard tires going on, of course, for the both of them. So at the line this next time by, once Race Day makes his way, it'll be halfway through this Austrian Grand Prix. King Pro Player will currently take up second place. He'll allow Lancey by, and he's going to play a bit of a team game here. He's going to get back on the throttle and defend against Cali Rob. This is bold here from King Pro. Look at this. Bit of teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's what they say. King Pro trying to defend as much as he can. Unfortunately, Cali Rob's DRS was a little bit too much for King Pro, unless potentially does King Pro have it back on Cali Rob. This is huge in the grand scheme of things. King Pro is going to outbreak Cali Rob through 4. Cali Rob's going to have to send him wide. Contact was definitely made there. But Cali Rob is, I'm sure, feeling quite frustrated with King Pro Player in this one like he is. I mean, no disrespect to King Pro. He's doing what Lancey would absolutely want him to do. That's the sort of teamwork that you have to play in order to get yourself good results, as race day up the hill through 3 has 24.5, nearly 25 seconds on Lancey. Lancey's next battle is, of course, Cali Rob, as we've been saying. King Pro Player also in this as well. We'll have a look at the who has yet to stop. Just race day and Valentine, the pair of the two Mercedes who started on the hard tires. Cali Rob up the inside of Lancey. He's way too late on the brakes there, and he will be going clean off the track, and will drop back down to 4th. Yeah, and he's had that, I think, second time today, is now Scornsy's going to get around Cali Rob. He's not necessarily struggling, but I tell you what, he's getting gutsy, which he needs to. Having the wing damage, well, he did have wing damage, doesn't it? Did he have wing damage? I thought he did. Anyway, as race day now, a 3-second penalty. Oh, this is interesting, because race day's picked that up coming out of turn 1. Assuming when race day pits, he's going to be right amongst in it with everybody else in this battle. Scornsy's got a 3-second penalty. Fire Up Flow has it as well. I mean, we can assume that Lancey and Cali Rob and Race Chase are probably on 2 warnings of their own. I mean, this is huge here for race day. Whoever now doesn't get that penalty out of the what will be the eventual leaders of this Grand Prix, I mean, they're going to be the ones absolutely taking advantage here. Of course, mind you, Race Day did have about a 3-second advantage. As Lancey's going to go wide at a 3 there. Race Day did have like a 3-second advantage over the rest of the players in this battle, so I'm not entirely sure. As Scornsy's going to try the outside of King Pro potentially. Maybe a bit of late braking there, it seemed. Not quite. Does he try it now, going through 6? Yeah, it doesn't appear so. Anyway, Race Day did have a little bit of a lead already. He'll probably still come out of the pit lane in the lead here. But still, you'd have to expect that one's going to get dicey. As speaking of dicey, Houdini and Shariah, I think, was potentially making contact there. A-Dub appears to have left the session and is not rejoined. I don't know if that was by his doing or at the hands of the connectivity gods there. I think probably that second option. Up the hill through the Niki Lauda corner. They try to go up the hill through turn 3. Again, I'm thinking that these V-carbs here are definitely working in unison. Great wall of Visa Cash App Racing Bull, but they aren't going to make contact there. As Cali Rob's going to get down the inside of Scornsy, he's going to take that 4th spot. Cali Rob's going to follow right within the slipstream of Lancey here. He's going to get boxed in by the Racing Bulls. This is great play here from Italy's other team, but goodness me, that one, I tell you what, if they're not careful, that's going to get sketchy. Cali Rob has already had to deal with that sort of pressure in battle. Thinking he might get a little bit impatient, to which I would understand. As I think we did have some contact just there between King Pro Player and Scornsy. And it appears whatever it was has kind of sorted itself out, but I think we did have something go on with that. Sui has a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. He's up to 9. Coming up closer on 10 laps to go. Cali Rob to the back end of Lancey is not going to have it. Not this time. DRS is going to be activated, of course, for the Ferrari. Again, this could be for the battle. I mean, Race Day has pit here for the medium tires, in which he is now currently on. He's 6 seconds up the road from the battle for second. Of course, race day on that 3-second penalty. God forbid if there's a safety car at some point here. Scornsy and King Pro battling again. If there's a safety car, that's absolutely going to lose it for race day, surely. So he's got to be hoping that this one stays as clean as it possibly can. Although with how racy it's getting behind them, you'd have to think that somewhere along the line somebody's going to slip up and shed a front wing, and we're going to have something happen. Kelly Robb now to the inside of Lancey, going up the hill into turn 1 again. We don't often see moves get made there, but he had a hell of a lot of pace there, the Ferrari. And gets himself back going again, and Lancey's going to pick up 3 seconds for multiple warnings. They'll go back up the inside of Kelly Robb. This is starting to turn into one of those scenarios in which everybody has 3 seconds penalty. Oh, and Lancey's going to slide it under braking. Big lock up there for the V-Carb, and he loses the spot immediately after he takes it. Pure error there from Lancey as he falls down to third. And what I was going to say, it's going to turn into one of those scenarios which everybody's back on the 3-second penalties. Kind of just makes it level pegging. I think that's what is going to be quite close to happening here. Through turn 8, heading into the Jacques and Rindt turn 9. Jacques and Rindt, the 1970 Formula 1 champion from Austria. The only posthumous champion in F1 history after having lost his life in Monza and holding the points lead, I believe, through the final 2 races thereafter. The driver's death who unfortunately had to be the catalyst for the safety improvements beginning in that region, and that's that era of F1. Despite it being such a tragic incident that claimed the life of such a fantastic driver, it does have to be said it did spawn a lot of safety improvements, and that you can be thankful for. Which unfortunately, it does seem as if, at least in racing terms, safety does only ever happen after something bad like that, I'm afraid. Hindsight's 20/20, isn't it? Kelly Robb leads Lancey by only 4.5 of a second. Race day ahead of the battle for second by about 8 seconds here. A net 5 after his 3-second penalty gets taken into account. The rest of them behind him. Lancey's on 3 seconds. Scornsy's on 3 seconds. Race Chase is on 3 seconds. King Pro on 3 seconds. Fire Up Valentine. The only person not on 3 seconds in this battle is Kelly Robb, and we don't know if that's even going to stay true because we have seen him go off track a couple of times. This could be, just a genuine out-and-out battle for position here. It does certainly appear like that's going to be the case. At the line this time will be 10 laps to go, or well, technically 11. In this Austrian Grand Prix, getting into, once again, the business end of this season. Only 3 rounds left. After today's race, race day does not have the championship wrapped up yet. A win here, even if Race Chase does not score, and despite race day seemingly going to be winning this Grand Prix, that would not solidify the championship yet. He could absolutely walk out of Qatar next time out. Oh, as Kelly Robb's going to go wide, and I'm a little surprised that wasn't the penalty there. What I was going to say is, even if race day wins, next time out in Qatar could solidify it, assuming he walks out of that race going into the final 2 with a 120-point gap. Right now he needs 180, and he's 70 points down to that. So Lancey up the inside of Kelly Robb, and Lancey's going to still absolutely be going for this here. As Kelly Robb is going to be able to keep it within track limits, he does. I think this is what's going to happen now. We're going to be in this situation as Scornsy now is going to be trying to have it on Lancey down to the inside. Scornsy, can he get both of them? Yes, he can! Potentially. Not quite. No, Lancey's going to have more power there in the middle. And it looks as if he will keep at least second, but Scornsy's still right there, right alongside, round the outside through 6. And he will tuck in behind Lancey, albeit only for now. Nicky 64, 3 seconds of penalty for him. That's his first penalty of the day. Of course, you could see the sky getting slightly gray. As told by Valentine, we are not in position to receive any rain in this race, potentially a few drops at the end. But unless there is a safety car here coming up, it does not look like that's going to be a possibility, although a safety car could still absolutely be a possibility. What I was going to say before is that I think what Lancey and Scornsy are trying to do now is they're trying to kind of force Cali Robb into a mistake and get Cali Robb to exceed track limits again and pick up that penalty. That I think, is what's trying to happen there. Obviously, you don't physically do that to a car, but you pressure him enough, and that will happen. Lancey parks it in behind the McLaren of Scornsy. Cali Robb will not be able to make anything happen on the inside. Still in fourth, still will be taking the second place. After penalties applied, he's just holding it in behind them. Race Chase, of course, in this battle as well. Race Chase could absolutely play a factor in this and get himself closer to the podium positions as well. But we've got 10 laps to go, and now less. Element now at 16 seconds of penalty. Race Chase might be having a look at Cali Robb here. He's going to have a small peek to the inside, not quite close enough to really threaten him at this point. Oh, we have a yellow flag. That's Element who's gone off, I believe. Oh, again, he's not lost any front wing, and I think that's a big sigh of relief for race day there. It has to be, because I tell you what, if a safety car comes out now, Cali Robb is in premium position to take this win, unless he picks up a penalty of his own. Down the hill heading towards turn 4, Scornsy leads Lancey only by 4/10. Cali Robb a bit late on the brakes there. Do have Fire Up Flow taking around King Pro Player heading into 4 as well. Cali Robb, I think, is not necessarily or shouldn't be in position to try to go too gutsy in this one. He's just got to keep in behind the cars ahead of him. Stay within DRS range, don't pick up a penalty, and you'll have second place. That's going to be massive for Cali Robb. Cali Robb, I tell you what, I think has won. How many races has he won this season? Always got a yellow flag. I think Element's gone round, that time exiting 7. Oh, don't tell me he's beached it. No, he hasn't. As we look at so far this season, Cali Robb did win the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, but again, he's been in the mix for almost every race here. You know, so it's one of those things. To be taking wins off of race day is quite the accomplishment. And Cali Robb, I think, I'd be a little surprised if he does not walk away with at least one more win come the end of the season. He's massively improved. Slowly becoming, you know, a regular contender for podiums here in the Division 1 grid. I say slowly, it's probably been that way for at least 2 seasons now. Every time any given track we go to, you have to expect him to throw his hat into the ring to be able to try to get on those podium steps, and I think that's what he's doing here. That's what he's done time and time again. You know, of course, it does look as if one more time that race day is going to be Division 1 champion to go back-to-back and for his 3rd championship. One of the only multi-time champions in Division 1 as Lancey's going to go wide at a turn 1 there. Cali Robb to the inside, and it looks like he's going to make this happen on the V-car. Oh, is he going to try to outbrake him into the corner? Don't get too risky now. Well, I think he's done okay. Yeah, he's done it quite all right. Yeah, okay, nicely done for Cali Robb. I got quite worried on that one. Again, Cali Robb, should he not pick up the penalty, will finish 2nd. Problem is, I think he's at least on 2 warnings here. I would believe that to be true. The rest of the cars behind him, Lancey, Race Chase, Fire Up Flow, King Pro, all battling for position. And, of course, Scornsy will have to be battling between himself and Lancey and Race Chase immediately, should that hold true and he lose that position to Cali Robb genuinely on track. Scornsy, 5-time Division 1 champion, the most of any. Ryan Rod's 3-time champion. Race Day 2016 looking to become joint 2nd all-time on Division 1 Drivers' Championships. We'll follow in the footsteps of Scornsy doing it, I believe, at least twice. Ryan Rod's doing it once. Yeah, Scornsy having done that twice. Ryan Rod's doing it once of going back-to-back title winners. He'll be the third person to do that ever as well. Kelly Rob's going to get around Lancey and Scornsy there in towards turn 4. He'll float back up the circuit. Lancey and Scornsy battling well for the third spot behind them, genuinely. Next time by at the line will be 5 laps to go. Business is about to pick up here. Again, the sky is getting quite gray. I do not believe we are going to be seeing any rain here. If so, very minimally. And will not have a genuine impact on the proceedings, I don't think. So Cali Rob takes second. He has the spot on merit. Lancey will have to defend from Scornsy and Race Chase behind to try to keep the third spot. As exiting turn 1 and up the hill towards turns 2 and 3. Lancey, he's going to be having a look at Cali Rob here up the inside. No, not quite. He's thought better of it. What he's done there, he's blocked Scornsy from going around the outside, and Race Chase is actually going to stick his nose underneath. He might actually be able to have a look at the McLaren here. Oh, not quite. He almost did. Just wasn't necessarily close enough to making that happen. Oh, Scornsy's gone way late on the brakes, and he has lost the position, I think. Can Race Chase power it round the outside through turn 6 to be able to set the McLaren behind? Oh, it's going to be close there. Scornsy did genuinely lose his footing on the braking. Down the hill into turn 4, that car nearly went clean into the gravel off the track. And he will lose the spot to Race Chase before they get to the Jock and Rindt corner. He is still in position here. He's not that far behind Race Chase, albeit Lancey's another 0.8 of a second up the road. As in through turn 1, oh, Lancey. I think that's got to go as a track limits warning as well. That was close. We have a yellow flag. Swee's gone around. Yes, he has. This is out of the gravel. Exiting turn 6, that car. Doing a bit of off-roading there, I'm afraid. And he'll fall to 14th. Cali Rob exits turn 3, still in second. Lancey to the inside. Potentially. No, not quite. He's going to think better of it, I think, for the time being. Lancey, I think his big worry right now is having to defend from Race Chase behind him. Because Cali Rob has been probably the most consistent driver on track so far. I don't think Lancey could take him realistically, as Fireflow's going to get around King Pro there. Lancey could take him on track. He's not going to get him unless Cali Rob gets a penalty or has a massive error. So I think Lancey's priority here has got to be to defend from Race Chase. He can hope, and I think, that would be useful to potentially hope and look out for if Cali Rob does pick up a penalty. But I'm not sure he will. He is just simply running out of time. 3 laps to go here. Exiting turn 1. Lancey with DRS. Race Chase behind. He's not going to be close enough to the V-carb here to make something happen. Scornsy. Also, he almost had a look at Race Chaser. I say a look. I think he was more or less going to error himself into the side of the Sauber. Either way, it stayed clean, but still. Meanwhile, 14.5 seconds up the road. Race day, championship leader, race leader, making his way out of turn 8, heading towards turn 9. Reimer won it last time out in Japan. Prior to that, Race Day had won 3 races on the bounce. Could Race Day make it 4 out of the last 5? Honestly, at this point, it's looking increasingly likely. 2 laps to go. Exiting turn 10. Down the pit straight, up the hill into turn 1. Again, Race Chase has got to start looking at ways to get around Lancey here. Although Cali Rob has not had a good exit coming out of turn 1. Lancey's going to go for it. Race Chase is going to have it as well. Looking up the inside into 3. Cali Rob's got to be careful here. Race Chase will not necessarily get there. No, he doesn't. And Lancey's going to pull ahead. And so now this is important because Cali Rob is now in between these 3 cars and now in a position where he is more or less in the way of Race Chase. Oh, contact there with the right rear of Cali Rob. That one almost went bad. Scornsy in this as well. Scornsy being quite careful. Of course, again, Cali Robb does not need to panic. He's already got second place locked up as long as he can just be chill as that element and he'll have a go. Exiting the first corner, race day, beginning the final lap of the Grand Prix. Exiting turn 10 for the penultimate time. Cali Robb behind by 0.5 of a second. Race Chase has got to get around Cali Robb here. Scornsey as well. Exiting turn 1, up the hill now through turns 2 and 3. Race Chase is not going to be in position. Cali Robb did nearly go into the back end of Lancey. Oh, look at this. Scornsey trying it on the outside. Not quite. And Scornsey with DRS. Will he be able to get around Race Chase heading down the hill into turn 4? Yes, he will. Scornsey will promote himself to a net 4th position. But making his way... Oh, and there's the rain. It's beginning now. About to say, making their way through the final 2 corners. 4 wins out of the last 5. Race Day wins the Austrian Grand Prix and is 1 step closer to being champion again as Cali Robb to the inside of Lancey. Oh, contact! Oh, no! Cali Robb, what have you done? Why the hell has he done that? All he needed to do was be calm. All he needed to do was drive behind Lancey and have 3rd. He'll finish 5th after an incident coming out of the Jock and Rindt corner. Lancey will take 2nd. Scornsey will take 3rd. Brother, what's that? Oh, I've seen better decisions be made there. Well, anyways, thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time out when we head to the Qatar circuit. The Losail circuit in Qatar for the 13th round of this 14th Midwest F1 season. For Hotspot, it has been a pleasure joining you once again, and we'll see you next time.